Hey guys! Today it's workshop time here at my club at Stillberghof Airfield. We will install together the Canopy flasher in the Discus CS, in this glider, with a Canopy contact and so on. Last year I made a video about the installation in our ASG29, where you don't have the Canopy contact, but this time it's different, and we have also some upgrades, some news on the Canopy flasher. So let's get started. That's our second generation of Canopy flasher. Now we also have the option of an essential flasher, so you don't need the control box, you don't need to connect it to the flarm, so it has just a fixed frequency. But of course it is good to have the connection, because if there's another flarm object in front of you, then the frequency of the flasher will increase. And of course it will automatically stop when you land. Then let's get into the details. At the older version we had a white laser-edged logo, which in some cases it made some reflections in the canopy. That's why we now have only a 3D logo in black, which is more stealth. Then we also add here a light indication, so especially for the essential flasher it's good to know if it is switched on or off. In addition, we also improved the canopy contact, which is really important for the side opening canopies like the chamfered gliders. They will protect the spring-loaded contacts so they don't get stuck anymore if you have too much force on them, and the strength is improved. Then we also have a firmware update for the control box, which is available for all generations. It's now easier to connect to the control box, so you don't need to flip this dip switch. You can just connect your smartphone in the first 3 minutes after powering up the device, so you don't need to get off the instrument panel cover to make a Wi-Fi connection to it, to change settings, or to test the flasher on the ground. Let's have a closer look into the app on my smartphone. Here we can set up our control box. Usually you select here the baud rate. 19,200 is the standard version of flarm, but of course you need to take care that these settings are the same in your flarm, otherwise it won't work. And we can select here if it should flash, if there is no GPS status of the flarm. We have here some option to select what the flasher should do if the flarm data is interrupted. If the GPS is jammed, for example, that the flasher is still working. If you use an iPhone, this setting here is very important, that you select Bluetooth Low Energy, so you can then send the flarm data onto your iPhone and use the data in the CU Navigator. And then we have here power saving mode, which is usually good to enable. Then we save the settings here. We get an updated message that it's saved. And then you can also test here the flasher, which is a great feature after you install the Canopy flasher into your glider. Then you can test it on the ground without having a power flarm fusion with a test mode, for example. Now when we are testing it, you can see here the light indication. And we can also cover this light if you want to with the plastic cap, which is also included in the delivery. For the different types of gliders we have different shapes. For the Canopy flashers, different housings. This very small one is for a duo Discus, for example, if you also have a compass installed here and the space is really limited. Then here for the Discus we use the standard version, and then we also have a longer version for other canopy shapes like the JS3. Now it's time to install the Canopy flasher into the Discus. In our case we install here the Canopy flasher with the control box, because the glider is used in the club. And of course it is better to have the control box. What are the steps we made step by step to install this system here? So first of all, of course you need to measure the middle of your fuselage so that you install it in the center of the canopy flasher. So that's why we use this thread to have a center line, and then we align the stencil which really helps a lot to properly stick the canopy flasher onto the canopy. Afterwards, we installed the canopy contact on the canopy, so that we knew the position and the cable is routed there perfectly in the edge of the canopy frame. The next step is to use the opposite connector of the canopy contact, where we have a drill stencil so that we have the correct position there. Then of course you need to do all the wiring, use some zip ties, you need to get your power and install the switch so that you can power it on and off. And the switch also has a self-resetting fuse installed, so you don't need to have an external fuse, which is really good because otherwise you would need to make some more holes and need to get a fuse, which also costs some money. For us it took about 3 hours because we were filming and doing all steps several times, but usually I would say if you do it for the first time you will end up 2 or 3 hours to install such a canopy flasher system. Of course, if you do more in a club and you know how to do it, it might be only 1 hour per installation. We are really happy how it turned out. It's all in the center. The spring-loaded connectors are aligned perfectly. And then now it's time to test the system. What options do you have to test the system? First of all, of course, we have the web application on the smartphone to make a test flash. This shows that the wiring is made properly from the canopy flasher to the control box, and of course it has power. Then the second thing is you can have a look at the LEDs at the RJ45 connector at the control box. There you can see if there's a connection between the flarm and the control box, and there you can also see if the baud rate setting is made properly, so both devices need to have the same setting. And if this connection is established, then there's one LED which is blinking. Yeah, if that's all fine, then it's time to test the system in the air. Or if you have a power flarm fusion, you also have the application of the fusion where you can make a test from the flarm so that it will simulate a collision. But with the classic flarms you don't have the option, so the only option is then to make a flight to see if it is flashing in the air, and therefore the new feature here with the LED indicator really helps so that the pilot can also see if the flasher is operating in the air. For more details, have a look at our webpage, have a look at our installation manual. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't, and then I will see you in the next one. Cheers.